Alright, before you scroll, dislike any of that stuff, okay, Fu Xuan is still broken, but let me just get into the video. Let me explain what's going to be happening. Alrighty, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star discussion, guide, whatever you want to look at it. And I'm going to be talking about is the new preservation sustained character Aventurine replacing the goddess character that works on practically every single team running the game, probably the only one that was considered a must-have for all this time, Fu Xuan. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what makes both these characters so good, what makes them go head-to-head, where they sort of work better or not, and I'm going to be talking about does Aventurine replace Fu Xuan. Before I get to the video, drop a like, drop a sub, let's get straight into it. So first, we should probably talk about why Fu Xuan has been practically the only must-have considered unit in Honkai Star Rail. So, as we do know, Fu Xuan is a sustained character and she provides so much for your team, not only providing sustain so you don't die, but also giving some support to your team. So as we do know, Fu Xuan isn't a shielder. What she does is pretty much mitigates damage taken by your allies and directs that damage taken to herself. And so pretty much if someone else on your team gets hit, they will take very slight damage compared to what they normally would take, and most of the damage is directed towards Fu Xuan instead. What makes her immortal is when she does get below 50%, if you do have one of the charges from her talent, she automatically heals almost to max. So not only is she doing a sustained potion, she can also heal herself, practically making her immortal. Not only that, but proccing her ult also does slightly heal your team, and she can also resist crowd control debuffs. So she already is doing so much, and practically with these alone, she's already up there. Not only that, but with her skill active, she gives your entire team a max HP scaling off her own max HP, and also does increase everyone's crit rate by 12%. Yes, so just having a skill up will give your entire team 12% crit rate, allowing you to have builds that sort of are less on the crit rate side, let you allow for more speed, attack, crit damage, all that kind of stuff. She's just a nice little slot in to be your sustain. She is a budget harmony support practically, and so she's just been this character that is so good no matter what team. She is a little worse on the dot team, but she's still fine on the dot team because obviously they're not looking to crit or anything like that, but she's still really good on the team because she's sustained. But any regular DPS team, you're running her with Akron, you're running her with Mono Quantum, she's amazing. Running her with Danheng, she's just absolutely fantastic, and she's very skill point positive too because you just need to pop it once every 3 turns. So she has all these things going for her, and she's practically just this must-have unit because she does so much for the team you run her on. And now talking about Aventurine, why is Aventurine the new sustained character that does rival her capabilities? Well, for starters, he is a shield character, and as we practically do not have many shield characters, we have the Fire MC who provides a very weak shield. We have Jeopard who has a really nice shield, but it's only on his ult, and then we have March, which is practically just a single target shield. And so Aventurine is the first character providing everyone a really good shield that also is off his skill, not just his ultimate. But what's going for him is he can inflict debuffs, so if you are running him on anyone that is doing damage, which obviously every team is going to have a DPS, no matter what team he's on, when he does ult, he inflicts a debuff, making them take increased crit damage. So there's that. He has a shield that, once built properly, practically never breaks. He is also, the biggest thing is he is a sustained character that has pretty solid damage output. Really good in my opinion too. I'm going to say really good because I'm not comparing him to a DPS obviously. He is a core sustained character. You got to remember, at heart, Aventurine is a sustained character, not a DPS. But for a sustain, his damage is really good. He can easily proc his follow-up attack, which pretty much, he has a follow-up attack which anyone on your team that has a shield gets hit. It gives him a stack. He can get it by ulting. And when you do hit 7 stacks, he does a follow-up attack that hits 7 times. His ultimate also can hit pretty hard. Not only that, but everyone with the shield also has a 50% effect res increase. So that's really helpful against debuffs as well. And my god, when I say build him properly, it's pretty much getting up to 4,000 defense. Because once you get to 4,000 or higher defense, you cap out this bonus ability he has, which pretty much every 100 defense that exceeds 1,600 gives him 2% crit rate up to 48% crit rate. So at 4k defense, you now have a practically unbreakable shield that you have to refresh not that often, but you're also giving him a almost 50%, so almost half crit rate. So you have this 48% plus the base crit rate he has. So if you do have 4,000 defense going into battle without any crit rate rolls, he has 53% crit rate. Absolutely wild. So allowing you to give him some stats and letting him do damage, because as I mentioned, he himself can do really solid damage. Not only that, but his shield can also stack, and when he does do a follow-up attack, he also gets a weaker version of the shield that can apply and stack up a little more. So that's nice little refreshes you do have as well. He can go into the battle not needing to use his skill for the shield because he has a bonus ability that does that for him. And he also does gain charges for his follow-up attack just by having other people on the team do a follow-up attack. So he is best on a follow-up attack team, but obviously he is literally usable anywhere besides Blade. So now that we do know both of these characters, and now comes to the question, will Aventurine be replacing Fu Xuan? So Aventurine is now the only character in the game that can even be considered at Fu Xuan's level, just because his sustain capabilities are absolutely through the roof. With a proper build, you practically never ever take damage. A lot of people have been telling me that now once they couldn't clear, like earlier MOC, they couldn't clear MOC 9 or something. Now with him, they can go all the way up to 12. They've been clearing gold and gears with them, all that kind of stuff. Really, really good. So Aventurine does work better on attacks that are also AoE, because as I mentioned, Fu Xuan takes the damage that others take and pretty much directs it towards yourself. And so when an enemy does a hard-hitting AoE, you are taking a lot of damage, and that can go from having max HP to 0 HP really quickly. So that's practically the only area Fu Xuan kind of struggled. Aventurine, he has a shield that is really strong, so he doesn't convert the damage and bring it to himself. He just has a shield that gets hit instead that you can refresh. So he has a big upper hand on those fields. While I personally think Fu Xuan is a little better when it comes to getting hard single target focused, let's say you're doing a hard gold and gears run for some reason, you're on a thing, you are with the Jeopardy boss, I guess it'd say. He procs a taunt on you, I guess, and then gets everyone on that field to just be attacking that one person. When that happens, Aventurine's shield could break in that scenario, but Fu Xuan will be mitigating all the damage that single target attacks will be doing onto the enemy and convert it to hers and making that person take less damage. And when Fu Xuan gets dangerously low, below 50%, she'll heal it back. Very easy to get charges for the heal too. All you have to do is use it all, and you start off with one when the battle begins. So really easy there. So Fu Xuan is sort of better on these single target fields when it comes to hard single target characters or ones that might focus one person a lot, but Aventurine is infinitely better when it comes to AoEs. Now for this next thing I'm going to talk about, I am not going to get too into it because it is spoiler territory. It is in the territory where the mechanics aren't confirmed because this is a part of 2.2 stuff. But from the looks of it, there is going to be a boss that does indeed take out the damage reduction that Fu Xuan has. So Fu Xuan not being able to provide her damage reduction practically means she's useless besides the little support that you can get from a Harmony score anyways. So Fu Xuan in that scenario is going to struggle a lot. Aventurine isn't reducing damage received, he is providing a shield for that shield to be hit instead. So Aventurine for that boss is going to be infinitely better than Fu Xuan will be. And the reason I'm talking about this is because they might be taking more of a direction towards shields in the future. There might be more modes that do take out the damage mitigation effects. So Fu Xuan is sort of struggling as a preservation character because again, on that battle, she's practically useless. And so it begs the question with more content, the difficulty's going up, them adding the ability to take away your damage mitigation like that. Does that mean shields are going to be more prevalent? And if they do go in that scenario, I do think that's when Aventurine is going to become a better unit overall. But finally addressing whether he has replaced Fu Xuan. The answer is no. Aventurine has not replaced Fu Xuan because they are still better depending on your playstyle, depending on what you need, and their own teams. As I mentioned, Fu Xuan probably will deal better with bosses or enemies that will hard single target or focus one person, while Aventurine is a lot better with AoEs. Aventurine is going to be a lot better on follow-up attack teams and such like that. I guess you could also say Akron teams because he does have his own debuff while Fu Xuan doesn't. While Fu Xuan obviously being on Mono Quantum because she's Quantum is going to be better there. And she's also going to be better with characters like Blade because Aventurine doesn't work with Blade at all due to the fact that he needs to be hit and have his HP go down. Aventurine providing a shield doesn't let him do that. So with Blade, cases like that. And then again, as I said, depending on the player, you might have builds that have a lower side crit rate. So Fu Xuan helps you tremendously with that. And by all means for you, Fu Xuan would probably be better. But in these little areas, when you look at him as a sustain, they are pretty much neck to neck. Depending on the scenario for the player or the team, one will be better than the other. Like as I said, for a follow-up attack team, Aventurine is no questions better. On something like Mono Quantum, Fu Xuan is obviously no questions better. And then for players that might have enough crit rate and want a sustain that can also do damage at the same time and also make enemies take more damage, Aventurine is infinitely better. But some players might have a more damage side build but lower crit rate where Fu Xuan helps them, and so Fu Xuan will be infinitely better in that department. And so, again, the question of whether Aventurine has replaced Fu Xuan, no. They are both absolutely broken. They both remain broken. So for now, they both are going neck to neck. As I mentioned, with a new boss potentially being able to take away your damage mitigation from Fu Xuan, Aventurine is going to be eons better in that case. And if they keep doing that, then eventually maybe it will become true that Aventurine is now better than Fu Xuan overall. But if this is just a one time, or they might even do the reverse where an enemy might just be able to take away your shield or do increased damage to shields where Fu Xuan will be better, it might become a balance. So there's no telling where the future will go yet, but we will wait to see. From the looks of it, it is looking to benefit shields more often than not. But again, all we can do is wait. And again, one more time, the question, has he replaced her? No, they're both fantastic. Both of them have their departments where one is better than the other. But the moral is they're both broken as hell. Anyway, that's been the video. Let me know what you guys are using. Are you guys skipping Aventurine because you have Fu Xuan, you prefer using Fu Xuan, or are you no longer using Fu Xuan because you prefer Aventurine that much more? Me personally, I am practically never using Fu Xuan. I'm always using Aventurine because lol, why wouldn't I? You guys know how much I like this guy. Anyway, yeah, that's been the video. Peace out.